Hey, it's Les from the TV Dudes. This week, I'm thrilled to step into the recording booth, metaphorically, with one of the most prolific and charming voices in the industry, Jonah Scott. With the final part of Beastars set to premiere on March 7th, 2026, we couldn't think of a better time to sit down with the man behind Legoshi. We dive into Jonah's incredible journey into voice acting from his early days to becoming a mainstay in hit series and the record breaking film Demon Slayer. Jonah also shares what it's like to lead a massive video game franchise and talks about his adventures with his popular VTuber persona. Whether you're a diehard anime fan or just curious about the world of professional voice acting, Jonah's insight into the craft and his experiences make for a truly heartwarming and hilarious conversation. He also gives me some tips on a couple of animes that I ought to check out, and I share back a show that I think he ought to watch. I had a great time chatting with him, and I hope you enjoy. Hi, Jonah.
Hey, how's it going, man?
Going great. Man, thanks so much for making time today. I really appreciate it. Uh,
Absolutely, man. Thanks for having me.
yeah. Uh, you mind if we just jump right in?
Yeah, go ahead. That's all good.
So I always love chatting with particularly voice actors, Broadway folks, anybody that's not in TV movie, like just, the box that we think of as like entertainment,
Right.
or at least growing up, the box that I did. Uh, because I feel like a lot of people don't realize how crazy and varied all the different job titles and paths and such can be once you get into really any industry, particularly the entertainment industry. I don't know didn't know what a gaffer was. It's a huge part of every production.
Yeah.
That's a real job. So when you were starting out and wanting to get into acting, what did that look like? What did you think that was going to be for you?
Well, I didn't I had a choice, but it wasn't so my parents put me they found that I had an affinity for art. Not necessarily visual art, but just like the arts when I was like
Hmm.
6 or 7. So at 8, they put me in a after school like 4:30 to 8:30 acting class that would get together every Friday at a performance like a little it was a dance studio called Moss Dance and Performing Arts Academy in northern Kentucky. They're fantastic. But they I would do that every week for 4 hours at a time until I was 18. We would do uh productions and plays and things like that a couple times a year. And as I grew into that and grew up with acting and performing, I realized that as I was doing this from 8 to 18, once I got to college, I had realized that we had been given a collegiate academic acting lesson and like experience over those 10 years that I had been there for, I mean, pennies on the dollar you would pay at a college, but like it's crazy how simian and how uh um just instinctual acting and performance is when you're a child and when you're a kid like that. Your brain is elastic, and so is your vocal cords and your voice. And um every week with rehearsal and then just like the lessons that we would have, I was inundated with it. We would do stage shows as like a 12, 13-year-old kid, and then go to college and high school and go on and do those as well. um I actually even ended up teaching and assistant teaching acting at 18 at the studio because I had aged out of the program. Um, so I was like, helping them put these things on. So I never really, I knew I wanted to be in the arts. I never really second guessed that it would be acting. It just kind of, that's how it shook out. And I found a passion for it and I really love it. I don't think I can do anything else. Um, and then I got to college and it became a little bit more regimented. There were more things to learn, obviously. When we were doing our little high school and uh, community theater plays and things like that, I didn't have to do sets. I didn't have to do costumes. I didn't have to do makeup or anything like that. I had that all done for me. But as a collegiate student, you learn how to trod the boards as a proper academic actor, right? You do a little bit of everything. And that kind of gave me a humility in performing where it's like, no, you're not going to be the lead every time. You are going to, this time you're going to do costumes. This time you're going to do front of house. This time you're dramaturg. This time you're script soup. Like there's, you get to do a little bit of everything. And I feel like that's kind of how it is on like, it, it's not really like that in any other form of performance where you have to do or you are expected to. It's very communal. Uh,
Yeah.
Theater kind of is this, we're going to get together, we're going to live above the theater, and we're going to take care of this like this
Yes.
altar that we all worship to every day. You find a little family there, and that's kind of that's where I come from.
I,
Where
I think it's
as
telling that the Muppets are always trying to get the show back together in that sense. Yeah.
that's a very, very, very good point. It is very much like the Muppets. It's all y'all live together. Y'all kind of like you know each other pretty well. Y'all have your daily lives, but you all come together and put on the show at the end of the day, and go drink and carouse, and have a day off the next day, and then you're going to do the same thing for the Saturday show or the Sunday show. Um, that was something that I like to bring over, and there's a lot of talented voiceover actors that do a lot of stage and stuff as well. I mean, people that come to mind immediately are people like Allegra Clark, incredibly talented stage performer. You got people like Abby Trott, incredibly talented stage performer. There are singers and musicians and things like that that kind of have done VO. What I like to bring over from theater is the we us hour of it all. The community of it all. I go over to do I'll go do a session at a studio that's like 10 minutes away, but I want to know the person who's signing me in. I want to know the producer. I want to know the director. I want to chew the fat with them for like 5 minutes and talk with like, how's the dog? You got a new smoker. Tell me about the meat that you've been smoking. Like I really enjoy that. And it endears you to everybody that is part of the process. And I want everyone to feel important. I'm only there for 3 hours. The producer, director, and the desk assistant, the person that signs you in, the secretary, they're there for 12 hours a day, 8 hours a day. Like they're putting in real work and like, doing the difficult stuff. We get to come in and have fun. So the least we can do as actors is make sure that they're seen and heard and we're not above them in any way. As a matter of fact, it's me coming to you and you're letting me in, you're letting me enjoy this stuff. So it's that's the kind of like rising tide thing. When I come into a studio, I want everybody to say hi to me. I want to say hi to everybody, not for a mark of self-importance or from a place of arrogance, but hey, I'm at this studio today and I'm my friends are here and
Yeah.
let's see who comes out of the booth so I can hug Zeno, or let's see who is going to be next into me, or next after me, so I can like high five Zach or somebody. So it's like we all know each other. We're not too far removed, and I like the familial communal aspect of VO. We're a small group of about 300 people, right? It's but because of that, we all know each other. We celebrate each other's successes. We commiserate in things we could have done better. But that's where I'm coming from. I really enjoy the medium that I do. I love games. I love anime. I love theatrical performance, and I love being on camera. Like I just love inhabiting another person for a little bit, and then going home and playing League of Legends for a while. So I'm all about the found family of it all. I'm all about the making sure that people feel seen, heard, and respected as professionals,
That's
regardless of what
great.
they do.
Because I could see where easily and not maliciously just rising from it, a job where you're going to have to go in there and be vulnerable could put you in your head, and the boothness of it could make it so that if you didn't want to pay attention to that, I imagine people could just walk through in a
You
bubble.
could just in passing seem like you don't care, right?
Yeah,
Um,
when really, it could easily just be, well, I'm deeply concerned that I'm about to screw up this
no,
part,
that's
and
very really keen observation, Les. It's there is I'm lucky in that I did cut my teeth on stage for so long, and I've performed in front of crowds of 1,000 people before. So like my stage fright, my performance anxiety isn't for other people once we have established the fiction that I'm living in. My
Hmm.
stage fright comes from going to a green room and talking to my peers. You know, my stage fright is like, oh, David Harbour is in this green room, and I want to go and introduce myself, but I'm an actor, but I'm not a David Harbour. You know, so that's where I live. As long as I enjoy um working with the people that I do and enjoy the process of creating and having a back and forth because you got the producer, director, and actor, and that's the like the trifecta there, right?
Hmm.
So as long as those three are in communication, and then every now and again you'll tap the engineer and be like, "Dude, did that fit? Like, or can we make this work? Is this too loud? Is this peaked?" There's communication. You don't want to feel like a diva. You don't want to feel like you're trying to be a celebrity about it. But like, there's a certain humility and like I guess the word is like meat and potatoes. Like keep like let's get this. Let's do the work. And it's not about me now. It's not about me. It's about this character, right?
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, that's that's where I live, man.
So when
I'm
it
making sure people are respected.
to talk a little bit about Legoshi and Beastars,
Sure.
when it comes to taking a role that's such a prominent part of a show, uh, what was it like getting that part, getting into that role, and how do you feel about it 4 seasons in?
So I I know that there are any number of actors that could play Legoshi. There are in other languages, myriad other languages. Spanish, German, Italian. There's a Legoshi for everyone, right? Um, but getting to be, the lingua franca, what most people are going to turn on and listen to, is a on Netflix when you first see it, right? You scroll over it and then your voice is there. Like I'm just a kid from Cincinnati in a lot of ways, right? It there's a weight to it and there's like a gravitas to it, especially in a show like Beastars that is a Bildungsroman of this awkward lanky kid's coming of age and the urges and desires and instincts, this anthropomorphic story told through an incredibly human lens.
Hmm.
um and that is where I think a lot of people like get lost in it because they see it and they're just like, oh, it's just Zootopia on HBO. But like there's so much more, so many other like very subtle human layers to a
Hmm.
lot of this stuff. That is just like there's a it's just kind of like the secret seasoning is the fact that, oh, it's anthropomorphic, so it's going to get you to watch, but you pay attention because the stories are that engrossing. Um, Romance and intimacy. It was scary. It's the first anime lead I ever booked, and I I knew it was a melodrama. I knew the story vaguely, but it's not JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. It's
Right.
not, you know,
Yeah. It's not going
Beyblade.
to be the most insane plot ever and a ton of screaming. This is incredibly human for being
Exactly.
animals.
It's human and very nuanced. And I feel like as an anime dub actor, my strongest performances are when people are the quietest. Um, I am very in tune with trying to make one of my big like tent pole ambitions as an anime voice actor is to bring people in, is to make them not necessarily want to watch the anime, but I want them to want to listen to the anime, or listen to the video game, or listen to the TV show that they're paying attention to, and be like, "Wow, that sounds. What are you watching Grey's Anatomy in there? No, I'm watching Beastars. Come listen to this like these wonderful performances from these fantastic actors." Um, and I owe a lot of the ability for me to be as subtle and human and um I guess musical with the performance, lyrical with the performance is that I was on stage for the longest time, and that I did transition slowly into voiceover, so I could pick and choose in like a cafeteria how I want to present a character in an anime. Um, and breathing is a huge thing that you don't really get to do in a localized piece of media because it's so regimented. How many times have you seen an anime character breathe through their nose? You know,
Hmm.
uh, you're just like, okay, do they even have a nose? Like, I don't know what's going on here. So, there's a big difference between being like, I don't want to do that, and oh, I don't want to do that. Right? There's
Right.
so much more life and character there, and that's my little that's the silver bullet in my revolver most of the time, to make it seem lived in, to make it seem like I am actually reacting off of people and not just reading out of an Excel spreadsheet that has a line in it.
Right.
I I try and connect the lines together, in order to make it seem less dubby, because sometimes you'll listen to a dub and it'll cut off the line right in the middle of it because that's just how it works. But I want to try and massage it a little bit. I don't not necessarily rewrite anything that a writer has done, because again, unsung heroes of anime land, like dub writing is an incredibly specialized and technical form of writing and adaptation that needs to be technically perfect, because if it is not, people will be able to see it
Right.
and hear it. If a script, in like a film or whatever, can like have one or two lines, or you can change how you move yourself or block yourself in front of a camera to change the line, whatever. No, it's already in the lens. Everything's already there. It's you have to fit in that box.
Yeah.
So my job, and what I try and do as a dub actor, is to move around the box as much as I can.
No, I think that's great because you can tell when somebody's put some real thought into, okay, this is a translation that has to fit this mouth flap, and but what's the sane, meaningful way that that this could be
Yeah.
said? Uh,
Season 2 of Beastars. Madeline Morris wrote poetry. They Madeline Morris got it. It sounds like scripture. It sounds like the Bard. It sounds like Shakespeare. It's so good, so lyrical. It's wonderful too, because Legoshi's face when he's monologuing isn't really seen. It's just like pans of the sky or the ocean or whatever. So I can really get really intimate, and it
mhm.
sounds like he's thinking these thoughts, and the way that it's written is so chewy and delightful. And just I'm able to take my time with it. It's something that I haven't gotten to do since in anime, honestly.
You had mentioned, the pressure of it. This thing's on Netflix. I don't have necessarily. I'm not the age group for. I didn't grow up
Or
watching anime and don't have Crunchyroll, but Netflix. This is an anime that gets shown to me. Like,
yeah,
the
yeah,
algorithm thinks I want this anime too. Uh,
exactly, yeah.
like, well, you've watched Heated Rivalry and Zootopia. Let's watch Beast. Uh, and when it comes to the roles you've done that maybe the algorithm doesn't show to me, do you have a favorite thing that maybe you had a blast doing, but you just don't think got the eyes that it could have?
There's two shows that I really, really enjoy and had a blast doing, and they're kind of in a similar vein. So maybe we're discovering something together here, Les. My favorite show that I did with like in the inception of my career is a show called Akudama Drive. Akudama Drive is 12 episodes, and the running thread here is that there's no cliffhanger. 12 episodes and it's done. You will have seen the entire story in 12 episodes. Each episode is named after a famous film. So like a lot of Tarantino movies, you get some horror movies in there, some classic 80s things. So, and based on the film, the title of the episode, you can kind of feel like you can feel out what's happening.
Okay.
The long story short of it is, a very powerful figure has a very important goal, right? And in order to achieve that goal, they need to get criminals together. So in a la Suicide Squad, they handpick these criminals that are incredibly good at one thing, a la, Ocean's 11. And my character, his name is Courier, and his superpower is he can get anything delivered anywhere on time, regardless of what's in front of him. He can make it past whatever it is, right? He's got this sick bike, metal arm, really cool cyberpunk story. Then you get, yeah, there's people called, there's another person called, uh, oh, what's his name? Cutthroat, who is like a serial killer. You have Doctor, who is an experimenting kind of like mad scientist. The Swindler, played by Kellen Goff, amazing person, who is this like low tier kind of like street thug, but his whole thing is that he can like convince people. He's got like the linguistics and the charisma. Um, so it's really good. 12 episodes. You don't have to worry about a cliffhanger. It's an incredibly well told story. If you know Danganronpa, it's the same character designer as Danganronpa. All the characters are very unique and very striking silhouette wise. That's really cool, and one of my favorite shows that I ever did. It's got a bunch of my friends in it, and we had a blast doing it.
Very
Uh,
cool.
the second one is in a similar vein, but this one's
Okay.
called Super Crooks.
Okay.
This one is on Netflix. It's based on a Mark Miller graphic novel called Super Crooks, and I play the main character. I play the protagonist. His name's Johnny Bolt, and he's just been released from supervillain Supermax prison, and he's kind of like a street criminal. So he like uses his electric powers to short circuit ATMs or rob jewelry stores or whatever, and that's how he's kind of like he's a crook. He's not necessarily a super villain, but he's a super crook. And the thrust of this show is that me in my George Clooney vibes of this guy, I get all of the villains together for one last job, and the super crooks, this like cadre of 6 to 7 like street tier villains go and take on a super villain who's actually evil. So it's kind of like a Suicide Squad thing, but like these guys slowly discover their heroism and humanity in this 12 episode journey that again ends after the 12th episode, so you don't have to worry about what happens next. It's got a very finite ending. Those are my two favorite things that like shows at least that I've done. Games, I could sit here for hours, but like those are two of the good ones that I really enjoy and would sit down and watch casually, just enjoy them myself.
Well, I was going to ask before we go, you have also done a ton of things that were not even media when I was a kid. Uh, TikTok, Twitch. You had your Twitch stream taken over by a cybernetic indie band drummer from the future. These are not things that happened to me as a kid. Uh, in terms of the new social media, the new ways to engage with an audience
Sure.
that you've gotten to see, what's been the most fun or most interesting new experiment of that for you?
So I kind of grew up with social media and know the pitfalls, know the ins and outs, know the weirdness of it. I was lucky enough to be born and raised in the perfect like butter zone to understand the drawbacks of technology and what it can do for us, and to understand how it works. So I know how to build a PC and take it apart, and I know how to build a mouse and take it apart.
Mhm.
I know how cameras and lenses and all that kind of crap works. So I'm versed in that technology, and I'm able to point out what I need to and move the levers in the right way to make things work. But I think um the most engaging, the most fun thing that I've been able to do is work on my VTuber, and not just that, but like also the music that comes with that. I as an actor, I realized about like 3 years into my burgeoning career that I don't own any of the characters that I voice. In fact, we may get in trouble for using or talking about or speaking in a way that is not proper about a character. You know what I mean? So we
Right.
don't have the media training or the as voice actors or the like the collars upon us as it were from the production side to learn how to engage in that. So that's the one thing that I've had to like figure out and like learn how I'm able to talk about Demon Slayer without
Right.
saying something incorrect or saying
Right.
something not necessarily wrong, but speaking out of turn.
Right.
So instead, I was like, all right, I want to be able to communicate. I want to be able to talk about this stuff and I want to be able to engage with an audience. I'll make my own guy. I'll do my own thing. So I own Alpha Aniki, Alphonse McKenzie. This character is something that I've created in my own mind with a bunch of other character designers, and we got artists together, and we really like got down to business to make this guy interesting to look at. He's based on characters that I had voiced before, so he looks like somebody that I would voice anyway. Like his design draws like aspects of a bunch of different people. Um, I stream like 3 or 4 days a week, and I am also like I use it as a creative outlet too to tell a story. So I'm kind of treating Alpha like a comic book hero, and we are making a graphic novel, a first volume, 160-page graphic novel that shows you why Alphonse looks the way he does, why he's got a metal arm, why he's got a scar on his eye, why his eyes go black, why he has like a demon inside him. There's a lot of like explanation there that people are learning about because they come to the stream they listen to me talk as like a voice actor and as a VTuber. They can ask me anything they want. I'm very communicative. I read chat incessantly, um, and I'm able to like answer questions. But the curiosity grows when they watch and they're like, "Why does he have a scar? Why do you have a pet snail? Like, what's going on?" And then when the graphic novel comes out, they're gonna get all these answers. They're gonna get all this like exposition. We have a bunch of we got some people from like industry comic professionals and a bunch of people that we're working on this with, and that's been where I'm able to go and like just kind of be myself and be my own creative self. Tabletop gaming is another one too, streaming, VTubing, and yeah, that's probably one of the most rewarding things that I've been able to do. I love my job as a voice actor, and I would never do anything else, I don't think. But it's nice to be able to have a little playground for yourself and make your own, build your own world, and be like, yeah, this is all mine, and we can work together, and I can work with you, and we can do something fun, and I can work with the VTuber community, and we can, you can cameo in my graphic novel. We'll do collabs and things like that, and reaching out and learning about that like that subculture slash counterculture and becoming a part of that. Kind of, in my opinion, my dad would always, he's from the Midwest and he was part of the like Midwest punk emo scene in like the early 80s. And that's kind of how I feel when I do that stuff, where when I engage with the VTuber culture, it's just like this is kind of what my dad did when he was the bassist for foreign film in, Indiana back in 1983, right? So this is me engaging with that. I had my VTuber's got a band. He's the drummer and lead singer, and we have a 10-song original album out on Spotify. Like it's a way for me to explore my creativity, find new ways to do things that I'm a classically trained opera singer, so I never thought I'd be able to sing rock or like metal, and I did it, and it sounds good, and it's a way for me to flex creative muscle that I did not know that I had, or that I did not know that I could, in a safe space where it's not going to cost anybody money. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's great. I'm finding more and more that I want my bands to be entire theater kid projects, whether it's Gorillas or Ghost or Castle Rat or what.
Yeah,
there's so many great
spectacle about
bands
it
out there that are really, bringing the spectacle. I'll see Guar anytime they come anywhere close.
Nice. Yeah, I've heard good kisses.
They're insane. They're fantastic live. Ben, thank you so much for chatting me about all of this. Yeah, I really love getting to talk to you.
Yeah, you too, Les.
I did want to say, if you've never, there's a show called No Heroics. It's a British show by Drew Pearce. He's the guy that did Fall Guy.
No Heroics.
And Hotel Artemis and such. He writes big movies now, but he did a little one-season show that they made in Scotland that is hilarious. It's
this looks great. Yeah. Holy cow.
People have superpowers, and this is the bar they go to, which obviously has a sign up that says No Heroics inside the bar.
That is so fun. No, I'm going to watch the hell out of this weekend, man.
Yeah, and you can definitely tell that it's the thing that he wishes like everybody had seen. Like it's a labor of love.
Okay. Yeah, I love that stuff. That's great. Maybe he'll watch Super Crook someday.
Well, so great chatting with you, man. Have a great rest of your day. I really appreciate it.
You too, Les. Take care of yourself. All right, I'll see you later.
TV Dudes is an independently run podcast out of Austin, Texas. We are exclusively listener supported. If you'd like to help us out, go to patreon.com/tvdudes.
You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at TV Dudes. All the music for our show is done by our friend and original TV Dude, Gregory J. Amani Smith.
To find out more about us, go to thetvdudes.com. I'm Randy Lander.
I'm Les Weiler.
And I'm Kyle Scott.
Thanks for listening.